Good morning. Today we have Temperance, the Shackleford Sisters, Book 2. Temperance finds herself beyond her father's ire when she retaliates against one of her tormentors by bloodying their nose and kicking them in the unmentionables. Her father is certain he will never be rid of her. In his attempt to find a genteel woman to teach his second eldest daughter to be a lady, Reverend Augustus Shackleford finds, as usual, that he has done more harm than good, and the woman of polite society is a crusty, vulgar con artist. Temperance has no doubt the woman is a fraud. In her quest to avoid the unwanted schooling, she finds herself alone, after dark, in the middle of a thunderstorm, and she must seek shelter. Unfortunately, a well-known handsome London rake finds himself caught in the same storm, headed to a country party, and he takes shelter in the same barn. Forced to spend the night together, he attempts to be a gentleman. However, in the total darkness of the moonless, stormy night, they have a brief physical encounter, fumbling through the barn and bumping into one another. Both find the embrace exceptional. He assumes she must only be a village chit. Nevertheless, he retreats to the other side of the barn for an uncomfortable night of thinking of her. The following morning, neither understands their attraction to one another, confusing them both. Of course, rake though he is, he attempts to be gentlemanly, but is met with the ungrateful temper the second sister is known so well to possess. And they hastily separate company without introduction, assuming never to see one another again. "I don't think you've met my father-in-law," Nicholas continued. "Please allow me to introduce you to Reverend Augustus Shackleford. Augustus is the incumbent for Blackmore. Augustus, may I introduce you to Adam Colburn, the Earl of Ravenstone." Adam stepped forward and inclined his head. "I am honored to make your acquaintance, sir," he commented, "and I must congratulate you on the raising of such a remarkable lady as the Duchess of Blackmore." The Reverend gave an elegant snort. "I've got 7 more at home, my lord." "Being the father of 8 females would challenge even the most devout of men, I fear," offered the Earl dryly. "You don't happen to be in the market for a wife, do you, my lord?" The Duke gave a chuckle. "I'm sorry, Augustus. I wouldn't wish my wife's siblings on my worst enemy. They may be delightful, but in truth, any man who takes one of them on will no doubt be in his dotage well before his time." Adam had heard the Duke of Blackmore was unusual. He'd been told the man was morose and difficult after being badly injured in the Battle of Trafalgar. Nothing could be further from the truth. Indeed, when the Duke went on to say cheerfully that at least Reverend Shackleford hadn't sought to saddle him with his second eldest daughter, Adam very nearly ended up decorating the front of his host's waistcoat with champagne in his efforts not to laugh. However, I feel it only fair to warn you, sir, that I am not currently looking for someone with whom to share my name. "And that's before his lordship has even met them," the Reverend commented, shaking his head sadly. "Truly, your Grace, you are not painting a very agreeable picture of my offspring." "What exactly is wrong with your offspring?" The feminine voice came from behind Adam, and on hearing it, he froze. "Speak of the devil," muttered the Reverend. "Surely, Father, you cannot think to compare me with Lucifer himself," the voice continued lightly as its owner walked around to Adam's right. "I may occasionally be tempted to acts of impulsive nature, but Her voice stuttered to a halt as she finally caught sight of Adam standing silently watching her. Lord Ravenstone, may I present my sister Temperance? Temperance. That was her name. Adam thought back to the bad-tempered, foul-mouthed termagant he'd run into the night before and fought to keep from laughing again. Meanwhile, a very different Temperance was executing her best curtsy, her eyes modestly downcast. Adam could well imagine what was going through her mind. "It's an honor to meet you, Miss Shackleford," he responded with a bow. "It's not often one has the opportunity to meet a celestial being, especially a fallen one." Temperance's blue eyes flew to his then, and he could see the very moment alarm turned to irritation in their bright depths. And so the fun begins. The attraction between the two is undeniable, but Ravenstone will never marry, and discovering she is indeed a lady, even if in name only, and the sister-in-law of a powerful duke, he can't take the chance. Temperance learns the Duke and her sister want to bring her to London for a season. She knows she must stay as far away from the Earl as possible. But first, she must ensure his silence. A clandestine meeting seals their fate when the vulgar cast-off con artist overhears their conversation and decides blackmailing the Earl would be much more profitable. Of course, in London, Temperance and Adam are thrown together and find neither is as set in their ways as they had thought. Maybe she can change a little, and maybe he's not so dead set against marriage after all. Only time, misunderstandings, and dangerous villains will tell. I actually like Book 2, Temperance, a bit more than Grace. The villain is a nasty creature, providing a dangerous revenge twist to the story. And Adam's desire to maintain the newfound friendship with the Duke lends themselves to the misunderstandings that happen, and it makes a bit more sense. And Miss Watt's characters and the Reverend Percy and Freddie always bring humor to each one of the books, and then throwing in a true villain brings in the intrigue. I rated an A. The heat level is a 3. The story is good, it moves well, and if you like a mixture of mystery and humor, I think you'll like it too. Check it out.